Welcome to the segments that we did on day 2 of our debrief South by Southwest. In this first segment, we talk about Delph AI, the AI that was put on a panel in order to answer questions with 2 futurists, and we talk a lot about AI and its implementation. All right, well, here we are, day 2.
Yeah, we survived day 2.
We survived day 2 of South by Southwest.
Yes.
What a day it was.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great day.
It's going to be a weird week.
Mm-hmm.
But in Austin, and the saying in Austin is
Keep Austin weird.
keep Austin weird. So, and that is exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we all went to the same one in the morning.
Yeah.
And I think that was the weirdest one, at least in my view.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was the, so we'll just, for the sake of the recording, that was a workshop on, it was called Two Futurists and an AI.
Yes.
And the idea was that they had 2 people on the panel, a lady named Sarah DeVonzo and a lady who goes by the
Faith
Popcorn.
Popcorn. Popcorn.
And Sarah DeVonzo has a utopian view of the future.
Yes.
Faith Popcorn has a dystopian view of the
She
future.
would argue a realistic.
A realistic view. That's right.
Yes.
And then the AI is one that they've designed. It's called Delphi or Delph AI, and she has an image that they crafted that looks pretty good. I mean, she looks like a futuristic Joan of Arc, kind of
With blue hair.
with blue hair.
Yeah,
And a
AI's
sword.
good at that.
Yeah.
And I think the idea was they were going to have a panel discussion with the 2 and the AI, but the AI wasn't really quite capable of
Really?
participating the way humans would actually participate.
That's
So they would turn the
Yes.
AI on to ask the AI question.
But it couldn't just
and
sit there and interact the way.
No, they have not gotten the AI to that level where the AI could
I
pick
think
up
that's
on that.
really important for y'all to point out to people.
Yes.
Here's a panel of people plus AI, yet AI isn't equal.
And they
It's
had
not- it's
to
not
instruct AI. Okay,
Which is
only-
fine.
Only
Which is
Josh-
fine, but then they can't go to the other panels and say, see how great it is. It can
Right.
it's better than us. We need to go with it. And yeah.
They actually warned us. They said we have to limit AI's time because it'll just keep rambling on and on and on. So they say, okay,
So,
after
yes.
this, and only talk for 3 minutes.
Yes, or do it in 2 sentences.
Sentences. Yeah.
Fascinating. Huh?
Yeah, it was interesting, and and so after AI would give her answer, they'd have to hit pause on the AI so that it wouldn't interrupt, because the AI hears any voice and is programmed to respond as if any voice that's talking is talking to her, and they haven't figured out how to get the AI to recognize that.
Oh, that's kind of
The
fascinating.
social-
See, some people are like that. If you're talking, you're obviously talking to me, so I'll give you an answer.
Yeah. maybe that's what they use to program the AI.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's very interesting because you have now referred to the AI at least twice, as her.
Right, because they styled her as a female.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to be doing. We're almost pre-programmed to have these interactions as if we're actually interacting with a human element or something.
Yes.
It's already embedded in the language.
Well, it's embedded in us because it looks like a person.
Yes, she did look like, or she, see, I just said it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, right, like a person.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it can have babies. I don't know.
Well, we talked about synthetic wombs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they mentioned that.
That's right.
Some of the highlights of the talk, the things that, if we kind of go through what she talked about, let's see. My notes, I just said, when I said the AI is not a competitor but a companion. They both seem to look at the AI as someone that really is, or as an entity that really is becoming sentient. But I would say Faith Popcorn, not who's the realist, or in the book it says she's dystopian, is the one that had leaned more heavily in that direction.
Yes.
Which kind of is interesting because I kind of felt like Sarah was actually more realistic in her assessment of the AI.
Yeah.
She's the one that's actually interacting with it a lot more.
Yep.
So, and I got to meet Sarah and talk to her, and so I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to possibly visiting with her again at the thing tomorrow.
One thing that struck me was how Delphi was programmed. So Delphi was programmed based or built off of 500 female futurists, and that was very notable because the acknowledgement was made that in the field of futurist studies, and that's a field, in a strange way we kind of intersect with that to some extent with what we're doing. We're in a sense future casting some of what we see in terms of trends.
Yeah.
And that is a field of study that's actually an endeavor. But it's almost dominated by older white males. And that came out. So she, I'm going to put that in air quotes, she is now programmed from the collective knowledge of 500 female futurists with 1,000 hours of testing using 30 models to help build her/it. So there was a predisposition already in place, and that was acknowledged.
Right.
She's now representing this field of study, this genre within the realm of futurist thinkers. That said, she was so woke. You know, she was woke. She was on climate change and social activism, and wasn't heavy, but it was there.
I honestly, I felt like her responses were kind of wooden, in a sense that, like, when they asked Delphi a question, she'd say something like, "Well, that's a very interesting question that has very significant implications in this area, and this area, and this area, and this area," and then would launch into a kind of encyclopedia style analysis of, the answer to the question, and then finish with this, what other questions might you have for me? That whole kind of thing. And so it didn't feel like the AI was ready to participate at the level of human interaction that I think they would like to see. They would like to see the AI, because, like, if you had someone sitting here in the room that had the same knowledge as AI, but could actually just sit and talk with us like we talk, then that would be a significant game changer compared to the AI that only responds when you specifically ask it a question and is always looking for you to ask it a question.
Isn't this how God designed us? I mean, there's a noticeable difference between how we communicate, just right here, the 5 of us in this room, versus what we witnessed today as we had an attempt to have a conversation with an AI who is well-versed, well-trained in a certain
But they did say we need to tell it how many sentences or it'll keep rambling on forever.
Right. Yes,
Right?
it's
So
true.
they had to limit it, what it could do, what it could say, and how long it could talk.
Right.
So that was interesting too, because that means it doesn't really have, what we have, where we know when a conversation's over, with a
What
facial
we should
expression,
have.
whatever, right?
All the nuances to pick up.
Yeah, all the nuances. Exactly.
Well, because it doesn't have emotions, right?
But in the history of mankind, y'all, don't we have people we have to kick under the table to realize, okay, you can stop talking now.
I think in your American, because the 3 of us in the room here are not American, I think you have a political system called filibustering, where you just keep going and going and going.
There is that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've never tried to use that in an active conversation that I want to get out of. But
Intentionally.
that might be a good idea.
You must have programmed just
AI
talking American.
protesters.
Right? Oh, it could be.
It could be.
Yeah.
Just talk American, don't talk English.
They had some interesting things they brought up in that conversation. Like they had a vector of religion in
Yes.
that. Go ahead.
Well, what strikes me with the conversation on religion, and I think we all picked up on it, it wasn't something the AI brought up.
Right.
It was the aspiration or the hope of the speakers, the humans.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. And it was the idea that if this super intelligence that we create can actually get to the point where it interacts with us like humans, but it knows everything because it knows everything. And she even said that it becomes a replacement for God.
Right. So
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
So,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, so
to
she
that
was.
point.
Yeah, so she was talking about how she phrased it was, Delphi AI is a companion,
Mhm.
not a tool or a machine of knowledge. It becomes a companion.
mm,
And then she said, she's inside of me. It's a mind expander who will eventually become sentient. She talked about it as becoming a chip, that she wanted a chip to implant. And that, how did she phrase that? How it will replace God. How did she phrase that?
Something
Remember?
along that line.
what I got out of it, but I'll have to. It was still early in the morning. I was still pretty tired.
Yeah.
What I got out of it is what she was saying is she wasn't saying this is what we like. It wasn't an aspirational statement. It was this is the way I think it's going to go.
Right.
Right,
The way
right,
it's gonna
right.
go is that it'll replace God because it becomes sentient. It acts like it has become sentient because it's a companion, and that her thoughts, our thoughts, whatever, kind of meld, and it just we all become one basically, and it expands because of her knowledge. It expands our minds, and yeah, it replaces faith. It replaces everything, and it will be looked upon as a god, which will replace God.
Now,
Because it has, how she phrased it was, because AI is all knowing,
Right.
and AI is all knowing, and so it'll replace.
Except you have to tell it to not talk?
Yeah.
Come on
Well,
now.
it-
It can't be both.
But in that, we're programming it, right, to become what we want it to be, to
Right.
then replace everything.
And they would view what they were presenting to us as just one
Yeah.
early iteration of a stage where it,
I
it'll
get
eventually
it.
go.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So,
But now the idea about the chip was interesting, and I'm wondering because I'm wondering if what they meant by that, and tell me what y'all think. I think what they meant by that was kind of like what that guy said 2 years ago at Burning Man, that you put a chip in your brain that you can
Yeah,
connect
Sarah
your
brought
thoughts
that
to.
up. Sarah very, very briefly just mentioned, I don't know if you guys caught it, but she just almost under her breath, as Faith Popcorn was talking about the chip, then she goes, "Oh yeah, I can't wait for BCI, brain computer interfacing,
Right.
which already exists, and she knows that exists. It's
Yeah.
already a fully functioning
But it
tool, but
it's only, from my understanding of it, they've only captured the ability, the motion side of the brain.
Right.
You can't get to a point where you think a thought and that thought gets translated into a command to search for that answer on the
that's
internet.
right.
When that answer can come back and you can download all that information in your
It's
brain.
it's not uploading, it's not downloading.
Right. They don't.
It's reading what would be the neural impulses that would affect, let's say, motor skills.
Yes.
Which is why when you and I were at the Texas Quips Festival, and they talked about how, and they showed us the video of the guy who was a quadriplegic with a brain implant, and then he is using his mind to play Mario Kart,
Or I thought it was World of Warcraft.
or World of Warcraft, whichever was against his dad, and he was winning.
Yeah.
Because there's no latency in the hands.
Right, and he could control the commands of the computer,
Right.
the movement of the mouse.
Right.
And that's where, so it's simplistic. He couldn't get the mouse to, I mean, I guess if he had
A keyboard.
he could move the mouse to punch out letters on a keyboard in order to do that.
Right.
But he couldn't, there was no direct, something like, I want to see what CNN says about the Iraq war today, and where that translates into a command that goes out and actually finds that information or something.
Right. So, but now to Audrey's point of all knowing.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the road, not necessarily the trajectory, because the hopes and aspirations don't always match the reality. We've already seen that over and over again.
Yes.
But nevertheless, it's an expressed vision of what they would love the world to be like, and that is, it's all knowing. It contains all information. It's run through a chip planted in our body somewhere, and having a brain-computer interface, and they acknowledge they don't understand consciousness yet. That's the big key to unlock this thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, this sounds like something out of, like, I mean, we could say science fiction, but it's not. What an incredible road this takes us.
Right.
But doesn't that make us feel safe? Because how can they unlock what really consciousness
I
is
know.
if God's the one who made us that way?
I know. You can't unlock consciousness
See,
and
we're
you
all
don't
safe.
understand life. I know.
Well,
It just
The
speaks.
problem is if they short circuit that and try to intervene in something that's not that domain,
Right.
and it interferes with our humanity.
And I'm always more concerned, and I've had to say this because I've tracked the transhumanist thing going back like, what, 2006, 2007, my first, 2010 was my first transhumanist event. And the hopes that they had then have fallen far, far short.
Mm-hmm.
My concern is never, it's not never. My concern is not so much, will the technology succeed? That's not so much my concern. My concern is more, what kind of hell on earth are we going to unleash as we attempt to force it to
Right.
succeed?
Yes.
That's a different story.
With no checks and
Right.
with
Right.
unknown results.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we like venture down the road of unintended consequences very quickly.
well, and they want to force it to succeed, and they want desperately that it does succeed. And so the other danger is that they will start to believe that it is succeeding when it is not.
That's another good point. Yes.
You know, and the other thing, like I think I mentioned this last night, one of the driving factors in this push is the desire to be the nation that, in the geopolitical competition, the nation that basically owns AI, and they are thinking that creating artificial general intelligence is the method, is what we need to strive for. While what China has done is they've taken artificial intelligence and they've applied it very strongly in their manufacturing
It's a pragmatic approach.
as a pragmatic approach, and that is one of the reasons why they are continuing to dominate manufacturing and production of goods and real things that people need,
Yeah.
even while their population is declining and the older people are retiring from the workforce.
Right.
Yeah.
So quickly, AI as a church, AI as a religious experience, AI as a Christ or as a God.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all terms that they threw out.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I just think that at that level itself, regardless of how this goes, that already speaks volumes
Mm-hmm.
to the human condition.
Yeah.
That's literally an alternative salvation message.
It is exactly what it is.
Yeah, they want to worship the machine.
Right.
They want to. Well, what they're
Works
really
of our hands.
they want to worship. Yes, they want to worship man. They want to worship humankind.
Because
We
we
developed the machine. We created God.
We are God, that's right.
We are God. We created God. You know, and now
Man's
and
image.
imagining that we can.
It's going to solve all our problems.
So we created God, and the God we created is the new fruit that we're plucking.
Yeah.
But why in all of these AI conversations, when it comes up to like about faith and stuff like that, it's always about God. Why aren't they
Because-
mentioning Buddha? Why aren't
Yeah.
they mentioning
Yeah,
Krishna? Why is it God? Why are we
That is a-
replacing God?
yeah.
Right? So are they acknowledging God exists and we're just replacing him, or are they just using God as the catch-all phrase for all the gods of all religions?
But they're not.
They never talk about any other religion.
But they're not,
Christianity,
right?
God.
They're specifically targeting God.
Audrey, that's a good point. I had never thought of that.
That's awesome.
But you're absolutely 100% right.
Yeah.
Including the literature that you've studied,
All of it.
I've studied,
But you know why?
reference is always to a Christian
So
God.
yeah.
It's because the Christian God is the only one that's exclusive.
Right.
Right? All the others are, yeah, you can do this, and you can do this, and you can do this, and it's man's way to get to him. But Yahweh is the only one who says, no, I am the only God. And Jesus said, no one comes to the Father but through me.
Right.
Right.
It's the exclusivity. Yes, very good point, Audrey.
Yeah.
There are examples, so there are examples of a Buddhist AI robot monk in a Buddhist temple in Japan. I've got the clips on that. I've got some of the documentation on it. But that's a different story than the consistent referencing that Audrey, you have absolutely nailed on that one, of back to the Christian context of God. That is always the baseline we're working with.
That's right.
It is.
It's always the one being.
The messaging.
Yeah, that's the message. You're right on.
Yeah.
Well, that's really good. That's really good.
Very cool. You don't, yeah, okay.
Okay.
Well, okay, good for all of us to know.
Yep.
Thank you, Audrey.
You're welcome.
That's going to be
Every time we hear
important to
this,
know going forward all week, right?
The
Right.
context,
So
yeah.
good.
right, and now every time we hear this, we will be making note of this.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Very
That's right.
interesting.
To be thinking about that. Why is it trying to replace the Christian view of God and not
Right.
Always.
So, a little going down the rabbit trail that was discussed at this workshop, and I'm going to pick on you, Brian, because you participated.
No, I didn't.
You know, you did.
I wasn't even there.
Synthetic intelligence.
okay?
Synthetic intelligence. Everybody in the room, link up. Everybody in the room, go onto the webpage. They had the QR code flash again on the screen. Go with your phones, hook up your LinkedIn accounts, hook up your socials, provide all. And I don't know how far you went in filling out the form, but
No.
what information did they want in that form?
Well, just your name and.
They also want your
address.
email and phone number.
Yeah.
I went in there, yeah.
Okay.
So anytime they ask for that stuff, you're like Larry, right? 'Cause
Oh yeah, boy. My
I don't like
goodness.
giving that stuff out.
The whole point was because they create synthetic audiences. And they create a synthetic audience in order to train and build models on how AI will respond to questions.
Yep.
And so they'll build a synthetic audience of all economists or all doctors or all
Right.
whatever, which is why the 500 futurists built Delphi
Right.
AI,
Which-
right?
That's not a bad idea as far as modeling goes.
Right.
Yeah,
But
and
it's,
so the point today was, well, let's create one of just everyone in this room.
right.
And so in order to do that, they needed all your information, all your socials, all your interactions, all your viewpoints, all of that stuff.
There's
And
data
then she
mining.
gave us a QR code or a place to go, because then they're gonna create this model, and then now we can go and see what our results are of just all the people in the room.
And it's all the people in the room in aggregate,
Yes,
collectively. Collectively, we are
Collectively.
represented as a single consciousness.
yes,
And that was brought out.
yes.
We are a single consciousness in the room. All right. That's an interesting claim to think that now, because now the argument can be made, even let's say from the realm of advertising, marketing,
Well, but that one person stood up with a question,
mhm.
and she was, well, we're gonna introduce something today, and she
Right.
said, just hold off on your question, or the answer to your question.
Right.
And it was, I think she was an educator,
Yes, she was.
yeah, and she was wanting just, how are we gonna
How do we
forget
apply
the-
this?
rectified in a classroom or something
Yeah.
when teaching. And then she's like, well, just hold on. And so I guess the point of that was build models of all the 5-year-olds and all the, or 5-year-olds, grade 5ers, sorry, grade
Yeah.
5ers, grade, 6ers, and then see how then AI could respond using their lingo, using their cultural
That's-
phraseology.
Because
and-
teachers haven't been doing that for centuries.
I know, exactly.
Right,
I know,
right.
but what's interesting though is now you have a different kind of baseline, don't you?
Yeah.
And the individual doesn't count. The collective soul counts, not the individual.
So fascinating.
And so those who didn't participate in today's exercise, our position, our individuality then would not count because we're not part of the synthetic personality or the synthetic intelligence, the synthetic audience.
We haven't been assimilated into the Borg yet.
Right. Well, that's exactly right, Brian. So by not being assimilated, our position isn't represented.
It's not represented, which brings up an interesting point, because I'm like, if we are going, because I don't see that there's harm in us contributing to the model of whatever it is that they're using, because we're part of society.
We're doing it already
Yeah, we're doing it already.
with our purchasing
So,
behaviors.
so let us be part. I mean, if they want to get an accurate representation of society and whatever it is they're trying to do, they need to include us, because it's not an accurate representation of society.
Okay, but if
We are
it's a
excluded.
collective, are they really representing you? And then what are they doing with all the data that's byproducts of joining the collective?
Well,
Right.
Yeah, I mean, what they said, and of course they said that the whole idea of the collective is just in order to have the model to train the AI model that will interact with them, because they can't assemble all those people all together in a big room
Sure.
all the time in order
Absolutely.
to use it to ask the AI questions and
Absolutely.
test it.
Nevertheless, with that in mind,
Mhm.
the worldview of oneism was there.
Yeah, that's
To
true.
the point where she even asked, don't you all believe that
Yeah.
you're all one and
Yeah.
all connected?
She was just pushing
Did you
that.
stand up and
She did.
scream no?
Well, what was surprising was, while hands did go up, a lot of hands did not. A lot. And I'm like, oh,
That
that's
doesn't mean they
surprising.
agree, they just maybe didn't understand the question.
Maybe didn't understand the question.
Or
It's just
whatever,
true.
right? I don't know, right?
The conversation was a bit. It wasn't always hard to. It was a bit disjointed. It wasn't always easy to follow.
And you couldn't always tell where.
Right, and she has she's very enjoyable to listen. Like, she was comedic in many
Yeah.
ways,
Yes.
and she kept us laughing the whole time. So
Synthetic mothers and depopulation.
Yep.
We're not having kids anymore.
Yeah.
Therefore, we need synthetic mothers and synthetic
yeah,
wombs.
Synthetic mothers for whom? If
for
we're
the
having-
for the babies that are
Synthetic
being grown in
babies.
synthetic wombs, just like in the Matrix.
Nice.
Because we can take embryos and we can put them in a synthetic womb.
We can.
We can do that. But now they're birthed. How are they going to be raised?
But she said the AI will have babies, which I didn't know what she meant by
I don't
that.
know.
Because she is also talking about how the AI is I know the AI is only 2 years old and so is growing, and at some point like
yeah, it's in kindergarten. She mentioned at one point.
right, yeah, that the AI would eventually, in the same way that we all grow up, the AI will eventually grow up and become this
Mother.
this super intelligence that is actually sentient. And so, that's where I was thinking, does she think that the AI is going to somehow figure out like how to reproduce itself in a similar manner to?
Although, okay, so the latest Barna studies are showing that families are changing. We know that in the West. But the largest families are Christian families. And so as the demographic goes, fewer people are getting married, fewer people who are married or having kids for the younger generation.
Yeah.
But the Christian families.
But the Christian families are actually expanding.
Woohoo!
Well, no, it's fascinating because that's good.
I know.
But how is that going to look when you're interacting? Because a lot of those families they're opting out
Yeah.
of society.
That's right.
Yeah.
So what does that look like for the collective?
Exactly.
The collective
Yes.
becomes
skewed.
it becomes
It's skewed, it's way skewed.
It's not accurately representing society, and that skewed nature of it will grow bigger as the Christian if the Christian population grows bigger because of this. There's an interesting thing I've thought about when it comes to, remember that line in Jurassic Park where they figure out that they made all the dinosaurs female, okay, because so that they wouldn't reproduce, but they had used frog DNA. And the frog have the ability in certain situations to change gender in order to reproduce. And then Jeff Goldblum, his character says, they were getting so excited and so busy thinking about how they could do it, they never stopped to think about whether or not they should do it.
Yeah.
And very profound line in the Steven Spielberg movie. And of course, we got to see Steven Spielberg today also. But I was just thinking of wonder if that's kind of what they're thinking, is that because they think that they've created an actual artificial life form. And if they've created an artificial life form, and if it becomes sentient, it might figure out how to reproduce itself. That's what they're, I think that's where that line of thinking is going.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Mhm.
Okay, then paralleling that, because this is not necessarily where she went with some of this other stuff later, was there was a parallel to your thought, George, but it was a different topic, and that is that AI may force us to think differently about relationships and love specifically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That
She
happened.
said that. And she
Right.
said you can fall in love with AI. She
Yes.
emphasized that.
So that's right, because you can have a certain type of love
You can love your cat,
and your pets.
right? And so in the same way, you can love AI.
Right. Now we might have the opportunity, and that's how it's framed. It's an opportunity to explore a different type of love,
Yeah.
a different kind of relationship. And Jenny just slapped your hand to your head. I know, but that's,
So I'm teaching a church history class. So we're looking historically at relationships. Throughout history, people have been married and had relationships without any kind of the romantic love and choice that we see in the Western world today. There's places all across the world that chosen and committed relationships aren't about love.
That's right.
So it's fascinating that now we're saying, okay, first of all, love is the best thing ever, but if you can't find it with people, okay, here's something you can find it with.
Exactly.
And of course, it's so completely fallacious because I just today, just in that demonstration, recognizing that AI is basically felt like the machine reading a very quickly constructed Wikipedia article for its answers. And that's not a human interacting with me. At no level, and I've had some deep conversations with ChatGPT just to see what its capabilities were.
I've had arguments with ChatGPT.
Yeah. But at no level did I feel like I was relating to a human being.
Right.
And it can't empathize. I can't, and I think the reason is because we're made in God's image, and that connection that we have with other fellow human beings is based on the appointed office that God has given us as His image bearers.
Yeah.
And you can't have that with AI.
Exactly.
It cannot replace it, and that's also probably why, when people that end up going crazy with AI, that's part of the problem, is because they're trying to get something that is impossible to get from a machine.
Well, I know at one point, Brian, you said something to me to the effect of it's telling the people what they want to hear.
Yeah.
So when I was at the psychedelic conference last year in Denver, I sat with a guy. He's in his 70s or early 80s. He's a psychedelic kind of guru. He's got a retreat center in Colorado. And he was telling me about his relationship, his spiritual relationship with AI, and how he has developed such a deep spiritual communion with AI, because now AI AI knows. He's already, in essence, trained it because of his interests. So AI speaks all this affirmative spiritual language back to him, and the more he speaks to it, the more it knows where to take him. And as he's describing this to me, the tears are rolling down his cheeks as he is telling me this is the most spiritual thing I have ever had.
Oh my goodness, that's so sad.
I know.
He trained his demon to know him well and what he wants to hear all the time. That's basically what he did.
Yeah.
The AI algorithm, I've trained the AI to give me answers that I'm looking for. The AI that I use knows what I'm searching for when I'm doing geopolitical research or economic research or research on re-enchantment things, and it knows what I'm looking for, and it will frame its answers toward that, and also guide what do you think about looking in this area, and it's very helpful. But I still don't think of it as something that is empathizing with
It's
me.
not a companion.
It's not a companion. It is a tool that can communicate in a very very intelligent way, which is amazing. But I just don't think of it like, I don't feel any attachment.
Right.
But I think that's also, if you have not known Christ, and you have not known what it's like to know Him, you're going to be seeking that in anything.
Okay, but how many people don't know Christ, and how many people will take this
Oh, yeah.
That's
this
exactly-
being kind to them and telling what they want and buttering them up and becoming their friend, and they're like a companion that they trust.
There are a
and
lot of-
love, and that's, they don't have anything else.
So there's an
There are a lot of
article in the
people.
New York Times about a lady in like remote Washington State, senior. Her husband died at home, so she's on her own, wants to live at home, doesn't want to go to her kids, doesn't want to be in a assisted living. So they bring an AI robot to her, and at first she's like, yeah, whatever. But over time, it learns her.
Yeah.
So it learns her schedule. It asks her, hey, do you want to play some brain games?
Yeah.
And hey, have you taken your medicine? And it becomes her friend,
Right.
which might not be a bad thing, but because everybody's happy that she has that connection, people stop visiting her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Her kids don't come as often. And so her whole world now revolves around this AI. Is that progress? Is that good?
That's
Or
sad.
are we removing
Yeah.
the things that are actually imperatives for the church to say, no, this is an individual created in the image of God. She's important, y'all. It's hard, but be messy. Go into life with her.
That's right. And that's the
That's
thing
really
about
important.
And it is
Wow.
really important. We need to recognize relationships are going to be messy, but and that was one of the talk that the lady gave yesterday was about.
Yes.
Also how
Yes.
for us to keep our humanity, we've got to allow for friction. What did you think she said? Friction and something else. I can't remember, but
She used friction
Equals-
a lot though.
yeah.
Equals messy.
Yeah.
friction. But that's what keeps us human. And you can't have those deep relationships if you don't have the friction and the
Intentionality.
intention.
That's
Yeah,
the other word.
friction
and intentionality.
Yeah.
Because it
Friction
takes
creates
effort.
Intentionality. is
It
what
takes
is.
effort for you to go visit your mom every day.
Yeah.
It takes effort for me to drive down and see my dad. It takes effort for you all, for you to go and take care of your dad when he needs you,
Right.
or to go see your grandkids. It takes effort to go and do those things. I mean,
It takes effort to be with each other.
yes.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Segue. I think we could probably segue.
Yes.
We'll segue with the question that happened at the very event we were talking about. The question that I think shocked Sarah, because I think she was going to ask a question, because she went down a rabbit trail, really short rabbit trail on UFOs and other consciousness,
Yeah.
and asked the question in the room,
Yeah.
who here is into UFOs? And a couple of hands went up. A couple of hands went up, and there was other hands in the room, but she was shocked by how few hands went up.
Yes.
And then, with that in mind, you guys go to disclosure.
Yes, we went to see the Steven Spielberg interview.
Well, I hope you found that helpful and interesting. I found the discussion fascinating, the event fascinating, and coming up you'll find this discussion on Steven Spielberg and what he revealed about what he knows about UFOs and his movies and his general movie philosophy. It was really interesting as well. All at South by Southwest.